Introduction. Imagine a world without a force holding things down. Everything, big or small, would just float around in a giant mess. Thankfully, this is not the case in reality. There is something that holds everything down, keeps us from floating around randomly, and does not let the all-essential atmosphere drift away into space. It is the same force that makes planets move in giant orbits. It is the force of gravity. In this chapter, you will learn about Earth's gravitation. In Chapter 5, you read about Galileo, 1564 to 1642, an Italian scientist who disproved Aristotle's theory that heavy objects fall on the ground faster than light objects. He proved that all objects undergoing free fall have the same acceleration, irrespective of their masses. If you drop a coin and a feather from a certain height in your house, what do you observe? The feather falls slower. It is because of air resistance. On the other hand, if you drop a coin and feather in an evacuated tube, they would fall simultaneously. He also performed experiments by rolling objects on inclined planes and proved that they rolled with constant acceleration. As present-day clocks were not in use in those days, he is believed to have used water clocks to measure time. Since ancient times, people have been fascinated when watching night sky. They have wondered on seeing planets moving against the background of stars in regular patterns. The visual shows a device used by our ancestors more than a century ago to track the positions of planets. 2000 years ago, Ptolemy proposed that all planets and stars, including our Sun, revolved round the Earth. According to him, each planet revolved such that the locus of its orbital center was itself a circular track around the Earth. His model was known as geocentric model, as Earth was wrongly assumed to be the center of orbit of planets. Aryabhatta, a renowned mathematician and astronomer who lived in the 5th century AD, proposed that all planets revolved round the Sun. He also defined the shape of the Earth much before Christopher Columbus. He was the first scientist to state that Earth rotated round its axis and revolved round the Sun. He pioneered in determining that pi equals 3.1416. His pioneering works include the sine table in trigonometry. Nearly 1,000 years after Aryabhatta's theory, Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish monk, came up with the same theory as that of Aryabhatta. At a time when common belief was ripe in geocentric theory, voice of Copernicus was never heard. Galileo, who endorsed Copernican theory, was prosecuted for his controversial belief. Tycho Brahe, 1546 to 1601, a Danish nobleman, used to observe planetary motion with naked eye and compile data which were analyzed by his assistant Johannes Kepler, 1571 to 1640.